Hey guys, this is Comic Uno and Comic Frontline, and today I am doing Comic Uno episode 85, and this is the show where I review all the comics I read this week in one show. So let's get started. We're going worst pick of the week to best pick of the week, and we have 15 comics this week, so kind of like a normal amount, or used to be a normal amount, like 20 is now the normal amount. But let's get started. Worst pick of the week is what's been worst pick of the week like every week. Earth 2 World's End, issue 19. I'm still like extremely bored by this book. Even the art's getting really sloppy. Like before I was like, oh, art's pretty consistent, but now the artwork is getting sloppy. It's like still good artwork, but like I don't know. I feel like they just don't care about this book at this point. You know what's boring about this? There's no good character moments. It's just like the same thing. It's like, all right, Earth is ending. How many issues can you say this Earth is ending? Just like everyone just like, oh no, Earth. I mean, oh no, Earth 2. We're done. Yeah, so this just kind of bored me. There's not much to say. It's the same thing over and over again. So Earth 2 World's End issue 19 gets 1.5 stars. All right, moving on to number 14, which is not a weekly series. It's Harley Quinn's Valentine's Day special, issue 1. Don't you love it? I guess I didn't. You know, this issue wasn't even like horrible. It was just horribly long. It's $4.99, and you might be questioning why the hell did I get Harley Quinn? I usually don't. And wearing my Harley Quinn shirt too. Why did I get Harley Quinn? You know, I just want to kind of pick it up at whim. I wasn't getting that many comics this week, so I was like, all right, you know, let's see where Harley Quinn's at. And I was like, oh, you know, it might be a little funny to see Bruce Wayne or, you know, Batman and Harley Quinn date for an issue. And, you know, it was funny for like the first couple of pages, and then it just kept going. It's just a really wordy book. You know, there's some jokes that hit here and there. Like there's a cool Staten Island Ferry joke, a cool like Black Book dating joke where Amanda Connor adds her name there. So I thought that was kind of funny. You know, some breaking the fourth wall stuff, but not for $4.99 and not for as many pages as it was. You know, this could have been a regular issue. Really did not need to be a jumbo size Harley Quinn book. And it still, you know, makes me satisfied that I'm not getting Harley Quinn because I still think it needs to learn what it is. It's a comedy book. It does not need to be wordy. It does not need to be 10,000 pages. It's like it should be a quick read. That's what a comedy book should be. So Harley Quinn Valentine's Day Special issue 1 gets 2 stars. That was number 14. All right, moving on to not a weekly series, but another regular series. Justice League United issue 9. This issue, well, this story arc honestly should have ended a while ago. It's a 6-part issue, story arc, so it's going on for like half a year now, and I'm just not into it. I don't really like the Legion of Superheroes that much. The only reason I'm sticking with it is I actually do like Justice League United, and I feel like I don't want to miss anything. I'm so far into the story arc already. I only have one more issue left. Should just finish it, you know? But I feel like every single time I read this book, I think it's the last part. I'm like, oh yeah, the last part, and then I'm like, one more part? What? So yeah, what I don't like about this story is like, oh yeah, you know, at first I liked it that they were trying to get this, you know, the kid's important, this villain trying to get him. Cool, you know, I like that story. We've been following this kid since issue 1, but now it's just getting repetitive. That's the thing. It's getting very repetitive, this book. And if you like the Legion of Superheroes, I think you'll like this just to see them interact with each other. But I don't really know anything about the Legion of Superheroes. I really don't like the team that much. They're from the future. Not a big fan of it. And for a book that's called Justice League United, you hardly see the characters in the book. Like, that's why I'm buying it. For Animal Man, for Supergirl, for Stargirl, Martian Manhunter. And you only see them say a couple of lines. Now, the reason I did give this I guess a bit higher than I liked it is because the artwork is actually really good for the book. And it's a shame that the story is just like, I'm done with it. I don't care anymore. Like, move on. So I gave Justice League United issue 9 2.5 stars. Moving on to number, what are we up to? I don't even know, 13? We are up to number 12, which is Future's End, issue 41. I thought this was a bit of an improvement from what we've been getting. It's still, you know, not really you shouldn't really pick this up. But if you're interested in Convergence, finally it's kind of going to that direction. You understand what Convergence is, or you understand why Future's End is going towards Convergence, but it also gets me like really upset because I'm like, all that other stuff was kind of bullshit. All of those other stories really didn't matter. Maybe to understand more of the characters like Firestorm, every other story is just like dragging on. This did not need to be as long as it was to get to this point. This really could have been like the first 10 issues to get to this point. And that really got me upset because I'm like, 41 issues? I bought 41 issues of this, and it doesn't feel satisfying once we get to it. But you know what? The issue's not that bad. The artwork's pretty good. I do like, you know, that the characters are finally coming together, where Future's End like usually was 2 pages of one character and then another character and the other half of the world. And now, you know, everyone's coming together. So I like that idea. I gave it 3 stars because it is an improvement from, drastically improvement from what we've been getting, but at the same time, not really drastically improving the series as a whole. So Future's End issue 41 gets 3 stars. That was number 12. All right, now we are moving on to number 11, which is Batman Eternal issue 45. This disappointed me a bit. You know, there's one scene I love, though, which I'll talk about. But this was back to the Spectre Batwing story, and I thought that was one of the weaker stories of Batman Eternal. So to go back to that Batwing story that I just felt like was not needed to the Turtle story as a whole, really the back half was really interesting for this book because you find out who's probably behind this, which is Ra's al Ghul, and I thought that was very interesting. You get a really great Stephanie and Harper Row moment, but then the first half is like, I did not need to know any of that. Like, I guess if you like those characters, you should put it in Gotham Midnight, not in this book. I just didn't think it fit that much. So second half was really good. First half wasn't. Artwork wasn't that bad. You know, there's some times where the detail could have been a lot better. Well, actually, I would say the coloring was good, but the artwork was a little on the sketchy side. Like Batman doesn't really look that great over here. So that probably was not even the best page to show. But yeah, so it's definitely a bit sketchy. But like over here, it's good, you know. So some pages, the details could have been a little bit better. But my favorite moment of this issue is definitely Stephanie and Harper here. You know, Stephanie and Harper are just kind of fighting. Stephanie's like, hey, you don't know the whole situation. Harper's like, I don't really need to know the whole situation. Batman's going to save the day, and you should help us. And in the end, you know, Harper just puts a gun that way. You know, she has to go help Batman, so she doesn't want Stephanie to move, so she puts a gun towards Stephanie. And she's like, you know what? Stay here, and I don't want you to move, because I like you, gal. Like, we could be good friends. So I want to give the exact line here. So she says, I'm going to talk to Batman to see if we can get you out of Gotham safely, because you can be a selfish jerk and carry a chip on your shoulder because of your daddy or whatever. But I think you're pretty cool, and I don't want you to die. And then Stephanie says, well, damn, now this is starting to feel weird. That relationship just reminds me so much of Stephanie and Cassandra. It's polar opposites, but it works so much. So I'm super excited to see Harper and Stephanie grow this like best friend relationship, because they should not be friends, but it works so well because they are, or could be friends and gonna be friends. I love that line. So just those 2 pages really kind of made the issue for me, but I gave it 3 stars. Maybe if you really want to pick it up for Stephanie and Harper, you might want to get this, but everything else was like, first half wasn't that great. All right, so Batman Eternal issue 45 gets 3 stars. All right, moving on to number 10, which is Captain Marvel issue 12. This is an okay issue. I loved Captain Marvel. Well, didn't love, but I really enjoyed Captain Marvel last month with the Christmas episode, the Christmas issue. I thought it was really heartwarming. But this issue was just, you know, kind of filler, I felt. You know, I like the Flarkin thing. What's going on here is that Captain Marvel goes back to her ship. She sees that Tick and her cat are kidnapped by these aliens. So she's going to rush off to find aliens, and they want Flarkin and to kill Flarkin, which is her cat, who's a Flarkin, who knows what that actually means, but I'm hoping we find out. This is just definitely a point A to point B issue of, oh no, they're kidnapped, let me run and, you know, try to save them. So I was a bit bored with this issue. I don't think it's really that needed, but I'm excited for the story arc to come because of it. But this issue I felt was a bit shaky, but artwork's still really good. I really do like the artwork for the series. This is just a point A to point B issue though. So I gave Captain Marvel issue 12 3 stars. All right, moving on to number 9, which is All New X-Men, issue 36. This issue wasn't bad. I don't really think you needed this story arc though. So that was kind of my problem with the issue. As much as I really liked the Ultimate Universe, interacting with these characters, it wasn't needed to be so long and I guess so hyped. But I did like it. It's, X-Men versus, and also the Ultimate X-Men going against Dr. Doom and trying to bring the first class X-Men back to where they come from. And, it was fun. I enjoyed the issue for what it was. It made me want an Ultimate X-Men book. That's something I'll say. I definitely want to read an Ultimate X-Men book after this, which the Ultimate Universe is probably ending, so I don't think we'll get to see that. But yeah, it was an okay issue. Really cool battle, some good character interaction, but maybe not totally needed to be such a big arc. So All New X-Men issue 36 gets 3.5 stars. That was number 9. Yes, so number 8 is Morning Glories, issue 43. I didn't get the printed comic this week, but I should be getting it next week. But yeah, Morning Glories, this was a fun issue. We get to see that Casey's still trying to run for president, not really working out. No one wants to vote for her. And you get into the mind of Ike, and we find out why he's a jerk, and that he's going to have to help Casey and the gang to survive and not have a horrible future. And we find out that him and Jade should end up together, that he loves Jade. I like that little twist, because you wouldn't expect Ike to like Jade. And you would think it would be Casey, but it's Jade. But artwork is beautiful. I love Joe Eisman's artwork here, and it's a pretty good story. For me, I'm not a huge Ike fan, so that's why I didn't give it like 4 stars. But I do like the ending. It's finally bringing these characters together, because they are always having these separate stories, which I like, because you get to dig into the character a bit more. But it's cool to get to see the kind of the team back together and kind of the newer characters back together too. So I gave Morning Glories issue 43 3.5 stars. All right, moving on to number 7. Yes, number 7, which is Injustice Gods Among Us, issue 9. Pretty solid issue. We get to see some magic stuff coming together. It's Trigon being this hurdle that Superman and Batman have to jump over. They're fighting, and then Trigon comes in the way. He's like, oh, well, we don't have Raven. Let's run away. That's pretty much what the issue is. But Trigon's a cool hurdle, and I really did like the interaction with some characters. We get to see Batman's crew taking this strength pill, and Superman's like, well, you still can't defeat me. And what I also liked about this issue was the artwork. Love the facial expressions here, especially Harley. Like, even though the jokes weren't like really funny, it was the facial expressions she made. She's like talking about unicorns in like some movie, and she's starting to like Shazam. And Harley was great here, and artwork is just really great, and that's what bumped this issue to a 4 stars to me. But this is a point A to point B issue. Coming to battle, going back, retreating. So it's a war, which we see a lot with comic books. So Injustice Gods Among Us, year 3, issue 9 gets 4 stars. Especially for the artwork. All right, moving on to number 6. What didn't make top 5, but by this much? That was Thor, issue 5. I enjoyed this issue. Just give some nitpicks here. The artwork is a bit on the darker side. Like, the coloring could have been a bit better, but I actually did really like the art style, especially since this was a substitute artist, and I thought they did a pretty good job here. It felt still like great artwork, and I really loved the artwork for the series, so that's definitely a compliment to this artist, Jorge Molina. And so, yeah, the coloring could have been a little bit brighter, I thought, though. And, I'm still, I do think the mystery for Thor is dragging a bit, so that's something I have to still give a negative to. But at the same time, what I like about this issue is that progresses the real Thor, or not the real Thor, I'll say the original Thor, his story, a bit more of like, oh, he accepts this new Thor, but Odin does not. He's stuck in his old ways. He's like, well, I want to kind of be Thor, so I wanted the hammer, if anything, but I'm going to find out who this new Thor is, which I'm happy, because I want to find out who the new Thor is, too. So yeah, what I liked about the issues that we're getting closer to the mystery is progressing the story pretty well. Artwork was pretty good, and they dropped some hints here. I still think it's Jane Foster, and I'm going to give you some reasons. We get a list of probably someone on that list is going to be the new Thor. So we get a list. people can be. And Lady Sif and and Thor's mother is not on that list because we've been crossing those out through the issues. But Jane Foster is. And why I think it's Jane Foster is this line. First of all, the kiss from last issue made me feel like it was Jane. And also this line. The more I carry you around, the harder it gets whenever it's time to let you go. I don't know how I feel about that, not to mention what you're doing to my cancer? That's what I'm thinking. So Jane does have cancer. I haven't read Thor. Like, I really don't read Thor, but I, did my research, and I know Jane has cancer from the last Thor series. So I think that's it. That's why she wants to keep this hammer so much, is that maybe it's not curing her cancer, but it's keeping her cancer at a halt when she's in this transformation and being Thor. So I do think it's Jane. I hope it's Jane. What do you guys think in the comments? So Thor issue 5 for me gets 4 stars. All right, moving on to top 5. Number 5 is Spider-Woman issue 4. I enjoyed this issue. I thought this was a really fun issue. What I liked here, well, first of all, let me just give the little negatives that I had with this issue. I do feel like it was a bit separated, the two stories. The first story was, the Spider-Woman from Spider-Verse, from the Inheritors world, and they kind of closed her story saying that she's going to be a pirate and she's going to be the head of the Inheritors world at this point. And I didn't really care about that story as much, and I felt they just stuck it in there because it kind of was forced to. But then the second half of the story is what I liked about the epilogue a lot, and that's Jessica Drew saying, I'm like kind of done with being an Avenger. I'm done with these big epic battles and making this a regular part of my life. I want to be not normal. She still wants to be Spider-Woman, but she wants a secret identity, which we've never really seen with Jessica Drew, at least what I've read from Jessica Drew. So I think that's a cool change, and I think maybe it's a bit of a cop-out, like how they did. It's like, oh, we want a new costume, we want a new direction, let's do that. But at the same time, I think it's definitely a motive that I understand from Jessica Drew's point of view, and it makes me really excited to see where the series go, and okay with the new costume and the new direction it's going. And I want to see Jessica Drew have a secret identity and where that takes her, and step away from the Avengers, because I feel like Jessica's always in the Avengers shadow, and now she could become her own person, and that I'm really excited about. Also, artwork wasn't bad. I still think the facial expressions could be a lot better, but I don't hate the artwork for Greg Land compared to other people. All right, so number 5 is Spider-Woman issue 4, and I gave that 4 stars. All right, moving on to number 4, which is Arrow Season 2.5, Issue 5. Some really great character moments here. It's a bit lower than I've been having Arrow, but still love this series. Because I think the plot could have progressed a bit more here. So that was a bit of a complaint, at least the Brother Blood plot. But there's a lot of great character moments. Thea actually has a moment here. Felicity's still kidnapped by Brother Blood. Roy and Oliver working together try to find Felicity. They're going into the Suicide Squad story, which I don't know how to feel because I don't really like the Suicide Squad in this universe, but that was also a little bit of a lackluster thing. But I really like the character moments here. I really like that they spent time on each character. We had a Sarah moment here, which I think is necessary because Sarah's dead, so we want to see more Sarah moments. Artwork was definitely improved here too. I do think the facial expressions could be a bit better here, but other than that, I really do like the artwork, and I think it fits the story. Then we have another person trying to go to the Queen's mansion to find the Queens because he has a grudge against the Queens. And we also see Walter again. So a lot of great character moments. Solid issue. I gave Arrow Season 2.5, Issue 5, 4 stars. That was number 4. Moving on to number 3. The Amazing Spider-Man issue 14. I think in another week this kind of would have been a bit lower. But I really enjoyed the action here, and artwork is beautiful for the series too, which I really enjoyed. And there was this lackluster moment of this issue too that I felt nothing surprising happened. But I still enjoyed the fight a lot. I enjoyed that everyone worked together to defeat the Inheritors, and no one died. So I was happy about that. There wasn't a lot of casualties, but I do think it was a bit on the unsatisfying side. But why is it number 3 is I had a fun time with this issue, and especially, you know, Mayday finally kind of being written right, where she doesn't kill Damos's father or even Deimos. She says, I am Mayday Parker, daughter of Spider-Man, and I won't do it. I won't seek vengeance, only justice. So that felt very May to me, and finally she said that line, I am Mayday Parker, the daughter of Spider-Man. I mean, she didn't say Mayday Parker. That would have made me very happy, but you know, I like the line. I like that Spider-Girl's going in a better direction now, and overall, I thought it was a good action-packed issue, but I think that blog's going to be a bit better. But the artwork was really good, and I like, you know, everyone working together. So that's why it was number 3 on the list. So Amazing Spider-Man, issue 14. Moving on to number 2. This was really hard this week, too, because these 2 books really, I enjoyed them. I really enjoyed both of them a lot, and it was kind of hard to pick. But what I picked for number 2, Guardians of the Galaxy, issue 24, Black Vortex, part 2. I really enjoyed Black Vortex, part 1. I thought it was a very solid issue, good build-up, and good setup. But what I liked about this issue is that it kept the momentum finally, and the artwork was beautiful. I didn't know the artist previously, but I'm going to look into this person's work because I love the artwork here. It fits so well. Great facial expressions. Another one here, Beast looking at the world, was beautiful the way they did that. Right there. Beautiful artwork. Loved it. And I like this issue because I love the ending. I like that everyone ended up getting super strong, and it's a really interesting theme of power. Should we take power? Is power bad? Is it good? Is there such a thing of good as such a thing as good power? You know, I didn't love that Kitty was like kind of nagging Peter here. Kitty in this issue is like, no, we can't look into the mirror. We can't use it. But Gamora's like, well, you guys looking into the mirror now, and everyone ends up looking into the mirror anyways, but which I'm happy it was everyone and not just a select few, because I'm excited to see these powered forms of our heroes. But yeah, so going back to it, I thought Kitty was a bit naggy, and that's why I don't really love her in Legendary Star-Lord. As much as I think she's in character, she's a bit out of character because she's always nagging Peter, and I'm getting a little annoyed by it. But I also understand her standpoint, because she's like, oh, well, we've dealt with all these things that are certainly supposed to be good power, but it's not, like the Phoenix Force. So you understand her point of view, but at the same time, she's like being a little naggy. As a Kitty Pryde fan, I'm saying that. But yeah, overall, I really enjoyed the issue. I thought it was really well done, and hopefully the series could keep this momentum. And I'm excited to see how they all use their powers and how they feel after they use the Black Vortex power. And how the hell are they going to go back? And obviously this power is not going to be good if this is issue 2 or part 2, and they already have the powers. So Guardians of the Galaxy number 24 I gave 4.5 stars. I really enjoyed it, except the little nitpick I have with Kitty. All right, so what made it to number 1? Smallville Continuity, issue 3. It was hard because I really enjoyed both of these issues, but for me, I really enjoyed Smallville for the little moments. It's, you know, this whole universe kind of teaming up with each other to defeat this alien force, and having a lot of great Smallville references along the way. Like Clark gets possessed in this issue to forget everything, but then he remembers, and we see little classic lines from Smallville. And he remembers, no, I'm Clark Kent. I came from Smallville, and I'm gonna defeat you. And I love that kind of inner strength you get, and that reminder of that journey of Smallville. This is not just a Superman book, but a Smallville book. Another small moments that we get that were great. Tess becoming Red Tornado, saving Chloe, and everyone just trying to protect Chloe. Nightwing becoming the Blue Lantern, which made so much sense to Nightwing's character, which I explained a bit more in my in-depth review. But those little moments really made the issue for me. My only complaint why I couldn't really give it 5 stars is that the art's a little inconsistent in the beginning. Obviously, it's a different artist, and it was, I don't know, the inking was a bit off, I thought. But overall, I really enjoyed this issue. Also, the other nitpick I had was Lex Luthor, not really caring about his relationship with Otis. I like that Lex is like turning more towards the humanity side in this issue, but at the same time, his secretary kind of guy that is almost dead, like that didn't feel like Lex. Is like, oh well, he's almost dead, so I guess I'll have some humanity. I'm like, oh, what can I do? That was kind of out of character for Lex. But overall, there were so many great small moments here for these characters, but also big moments in a way. And I'm really excited to see how this ends. Next issue is the last. And I want to see where it goes and obviously see where it ends in Miller's run on this. So Smallville Continuity issue 3, I gave 4.5 stars, and it was my pick of the week. Let me know in the comments below what was your pick of the week, what was your worst pick of the week, and everything in between. This is Comic Uno. Don't forget to follow me on Twitter. Don't forget to like my Facebook page. Also, description below, there's links for my comic book, Like Father, Like Daughter. And don't forget to like the Facebook page of Like Father, Like Daughter. I'll see you guys later.